Yes. I'm ready to fly. So, let's go. Okay, I heard my voice bending in the room. We're ready to go. Okay, let's start. First, I want to say thanks to all people who came here. I know it's end of one of shiny days, and it's better to have some beers in outside parks. But we are still maniacs enough to get to talk about uh, computer vision. Okay, my name is Gunnar Peipman. I'm coming from Estonia, and to computer vision topic I actually got accidentally because uh, I think I'm not the only guy here who is living in a Soviet time panel house. And there was a question. We had some kind of a pretty fancy thief who managed to sneak the way that motion sensors that put lights on, so ladies doesn't fall down from stairs. The guy was able to move the way that it doesn't activate. So I started thinking about, okay, how to get the guy. Of course, things went always like when I want to play like a cat with a mouse, that a mouse is going to prison for a long time. But still, I found a solution that is possible to use. I didn't stop. And then I discovered these Azure Vision API solutions. So this is what we're talking about. I have a few slides. I know I probably am not, favorite of organizer because I don't have 50 slides, but I like developers, and the developers want to see what code and the real action. I think I'm right. So, yeah. So, in short, agenda is here. I first tell you a little bit about all these cognitive services back. Then we are getting to real deal. How about how detecting the faces goes, what kind of additional services Microsoft is providing, and then I also propose you some ideas about what to do or not to do. So, as I show you a code, you anyway want to ask, okay, is it possible to get this code later? Yes, guys. Here is a link to code. To try the source code out, you don't need anything besides Azure account. This code is using only free tiers of services, so you don't have any additional expenses to do. So now let's start with Azure Cognitive Services. What it is and what's the offer. So when I started playing with these services, there were just a few services. It has grown over time, bigger and bigger. As you see on the search technologies side, they have made a lot of Bing services available to people who want to use it. I am focusing on a vision side. So, on the vision side, this is the offer. Computer vision and face are the most, how I say, complete services although there is a room for development. Video indexer is actually working fine. As I'm not the producer of adult content, I have never had a question about the content moderator thing, and I'm also not involved to any kind of aggressive social groupings. So, I don't have a issue with my content to be so heavily moderated. Custom vision is currently in a preview, but custom vision means that it is the same model as a computer vision, but it is open to you soon to define your own models, how this computer vision must be. Okay, now we are going to perhaps the most interesting part of computer vision, services in Azure. So, detecting faces. So, I know that there are many modern hires telling that all people are exactly the same, but if we are going to computer vision, then, well, we have here a lot of people. They have a different color of skin, different haircut, different shape of face, eyes, different clothing, face accessories, by example, like the nice lady here has. And we have an even better example here. So, computer vision actually can't go with popular theories, but we have, to handle these photos to detect faces on a totally different manner. So, how many of you have ever been sitting in a Soviet Union militia station? Raise your hands. Oh, okay. I see a few guys there. Okay, perhaps they remember this. This is how facial recognition worked back in days. And I see here, this is guy from Latvia, and next to him is guy Estonia. So back in days, we already were partners in crime, I think. So, but it was something that was on a wall of a militia station. So if there was the question about some guy, okay, from where we should start searching, then they had table like this. Okay, so now I ask, for example, based on this guy, okay, what is actually face recognition? Is it a big database, restricted database of images like we have in Instagram, by example? Or is it something else? So, make your proposals and think about if we want to identify this guy here. I don't say he has done anything, yet. But just ask about the question. On a backside, is it about processing power or is it about the storage? No. Then with the next slide, I wanted to ask one question first. I wanted to say that it's a slide about what is image recognition, face detection, and so on. Then I decided to title it as what's hidden. First, square is not hidden. So, how we get the image from somewhere, it's up to us when we are talking about Azure services. So we have to get the image to analyze. After sending the image to Azure services, then what's going on? Actually, it turns out it's in big part, it is 5 steps. In more, how I say, in a more granular side, it's actually perhaps few more steps. But first, the image you analyze must be taken to shape where it is the best to analyze it. Meaning that, the photo from our mobile phone probably doesn't go to analysis 100% like it is. So there are image balancing and preparation tasks, and after this the image is going to real analysis, meaning that it is a edge detection, how artificial intelligence is trying to detect, okay, where are edges on the image? If we talk about a face detection, is these edges forming a face, or is these edges forming something else? But it doesn't go so easy that it's only edges. Just think about what is similar between a river and a highway. Okay, when a river goes straight and the highway goes straight, when we detect edges, just edges, they look exactly the same. We have to analyze more to find out what it is. So after all of this, let's say, mess, we have image that is ready for analysis. And then after this, there are algorithms applied to find out, okay, what are these edges forming? And they can go back to image itself and ask, okay, but now let's make a color analysis between edges to get better idea what it is. The same example, is it highway or river, by example? So, and in the end, after decision making, what we have to save down, if it's a photo or a face, is it image or set of points? What do you think? Raise your hand who thinks it's image. Okay, one guy. Other guys think it's a set of points. Okay. So, perhaps next fast thing to mention is, okay, how popular are these services today? So, as a developers, it's a question for you. So, should I dig in and be ready for something or not? What I can say, sooner or later, these services happen. I saw one demo in Estonia where these services were used to give speaker feedback in event. So they were using one of these services, and then they later compared it what people had written on a paper. So these guys who organized the event told that in retail business, sooner or later, you don't get over of face recognition, and face analysis. Meaning that, Baltic markets are usually, we don't have such a huge investments here like big countries, but we are fast ones to take up on them. So if something happens in a big world, then Baltic markets are actually pretty acute to react. So it's possible to use it in retail, by example. In the shops, okay. What is our customer thinking about the product? Seeing a package, okay. Sprots, by example. What is better? Whole fish or fish skeleton? So, but let's take a quick jump before technical things to Asia. So, one day at news, using 170 million cameras, CCTV cameras over a country, they were able to catch one suspect among a crowd of 60,000 guys who are going to concert. I'm an active visitor of heavy metal concerts. I think this concert regarding of pictures was way calmer, but still, actually in a concert areas entrances are not very wide. But still, if you start thinking about flow of people, 60,000 people, they are not walking like pioneers, like this. They are watching around. Some of them are speaking with each other. It's not just like a painting of still life. And among them, among 60,000, they spotted out the guy they wanted to speak about, or I don't know what were their plans. So, if you think that there were any ethical questions, yes, of course. Their next plan is to add all over the country 400 million additional CCTV cameras. So, but now let's get to code. Is everybody okay with it? Yeah. Thanks. So, I take Visual Studio. Oh, you can read developer news while the solution is opening. Actually, developers news are boring. Usually new bits and bytes are coming, but nobody has killed. So, now let's start from the beginning. First, when analyzing image, and before getting to face of human being, what we have to know is where on a photo this face is. It is image analysis. This is a demo application I have. As a lazy guy, of course, I have not put any effort to change what ASP.NET does by default. Of course, I am very sorry, if you know what I mean. Being actually not very sorry. But, okay, first we have to detect faces on a photo. It is the same thing I told before. Okay, we recognize edges on a photo and then we analyze what it is. So, if we have just some arbitrary photo, let's say I take a boy band. No, I don't show you Justin Bieber. And let's see what happens with a boy band. Okay, I think you know all these guys. This is now face detection. So the algorithm just got face rectangles. So when using API, you get back based on image. You get back coordinates where these rectangles are located. So here is okay. Show you a code. Okay, so in this implementation I had to make some stupid tricks. First thing is run operation on image is not part of .NET framework. It's my own invention. In some operations we have to use image more than one time. So, but the downfall side of these APIs is that if you give the API a stream, you can be sure that when API is done with a stream, it calls dispose. So, I don't know, as I understand things, that actually when building an API and expecting a stream, then we can make expectations like, okay, we can start reading the stream, but we are not in a position to actually to kill the stream. Okay, if anybody has some other idea or a good reason why we should kill stream given from outside to our API, just make a loud voice and let us all know why it is good. Oh, I hear silence. Okay, I tell it to Microsoft later. So now face client is just the instance of a class that is making a communication with API, and I have here also a nice method called get inline image with faces. This is a method that actually creates base 64 encoded image from original one, and it is drawing rectangles. So those who want to really try out what I have done, then you should have now explanations enough. But now let's get to question. So, what is the face? Huge storage, or perhaps set of points? Okay, I'm a decent guy with no bad habits, but sometimes, especially at tech conferences, I like to abuse my daughter. So, this is how Azure Face API is defining a face. This is a visible surface about it. If there are, I'm sure there are more points in a face to throw out if we have access to internal data, because we don't have any idea currently cheeks area. We don't have much information about chin and so on. Okay, this can be different, but we have detected mouth, nose, eyes, And actually, this algorithm knows a little bit more about a human being. So, it's so in a means of computer systems. After drinking yesterday long for with a culture people, I don't want to sound rude, but and the break their illusions of life or make technology mean to them, but actually yes, in a means of face detection APIs, guys, we are just set of points, not oil painted portraits. I am sorry if I broke dreams. Now, okay, but now let's think about one good scenario where we don't want actually to deal with a photo album. So, how many of you have photos at home of Soviet time birthday parties? Where, you know, people didn't have mobile phones, but when it was birthday, then in a small panel house apartment there was still 30 people gathered and so on. How many of you have photos like this? Raise your hand. Okay, so you are not very eager to put these photos to photo album and then going through one by one through the faces, because there is uncle this and that on this photo, he looks nice on this photo, he is semi-drunk on this photo, perhaps I don't know who he is. So why not to go and add something more here. And let's say we are able to identify people. We don't only draw out rectangle, we only don't spot out the points, but we can say, okay, this is this or another person. It helps us greatly with a photo album, I think. So, for this, there is a linguistically not very correct thing called person groups. It is not linguistically correct because group contains information about more than one person, and in this case we should say people. Okay. Practically you can create groups of people. What you can do with a group of people. Okay, let's take details. So it has a minor set of information, but to every group you can add different people, and these people are represented by name and ID. Okay, now I have to piss off yesterday's culture people even more. And I can say that, okay, there are no paintings when we look at the details. So we have a name ID. User data is something you can actually use to bind these person data with a custom database fields. So now, so we have here bunch of people. It is actually my family. Usually Latvians don't want to kill me, so it's okay to show you my family. But okay, this is my wife. Do you recognize her on the street? I mean, just walks on you, smiling on the first line. So, Uh, Actually, for every person in a group, we can add multiple photos. And then we can say to algorithm that, okay, now we made modifications to group and go and train this group. Training means that the computer vision algorithm is making another set of deep analysis on photos introduced. So, by example, if you have photos from a very old time, when you have even not in plans of your mother and father, and your mother and father were not in the plans of your grandparents, so you may, there are, let's say, photos from 20s or 30s. Usually black and white photos, quality is questionable nowadays, and perhaps these images need more deeper analysis just for these vision algorithms to be accurate and detect who is who on a photo. Back in times, I have seen nice photos how ladies are having dinner in the green fields. So, oh, yeah, we have a park right here. I don't know if it is going on same way today, but still, now who is who on a photo? So, with introducing more photos to a service, it makes it more accurate, but it is expensive analysis, and this is why it is not happening automatically. The training doesn't happen automatically because it takes a lot of resources. You know, CPU is more expensive as storage nowadays. Back in days it was kind of different. Okay, now I show you how to piss off my girlfriend. And I take one photo from marine days when I had a really hard times to find a fish, by the way. There were, things from sea like strawberries and ice cream and so on, but fish was kind of minority. Okay, so I finally found one. So now this is a this image is now based on these person groups. So I got off some things because month ago I found out that I am 54-year-old, and my girlfriend is, by all analysis, 57 years old. I cannot go home with a technology like this and say, oh, look, it's cool. No, it ends up with a trouble. But things have gone better. So, but actually now it is, as you can see, based on these, based on now on person groups, it is able to identify who is who on a photo. So, I don't know why I have so nice face here. Oh, and here is a fish. It took me 2 hours to find from a naval days a fish. So, now, but now we know who are on the photo. What we can more do? We can analyze these photos. Let's say emotions, and let's see what is now this thing saying about emotions. So, are we happy family or are we something else? Okay. The little girl, Ove is the youngest one. Okay, he is pretty mixed, but still, you can see these numbers are probabilities of emotion. So for some reason, my wife is same happy as me. I don't know how it comes, but perhaps it sometimes happens. Women can tell me later how it happens. But Ove is here neutral. Neutral. Okay. Now I take another picture, and with a little girlie. But there are. Whoa, we have a crash. That's nice. It's not evolutionary technology if it doesn't crash. Oh, we have here. Okay, good to go. So, emotions. So, what is human being on a photo? What is his or her face telling? During interrogations, actually, it is very important. And as I understand, I have here reporters in crime who have also sat in a Soviet time militia station. So let's try now. So what kind of emotions we have? Now you suddenly see that the algorithm has detected one girlie, but we have more faces. These are not human beings, but pictures. So, and here, okay, here we get the real numbers. And it is actually lying a little bit because we were going away from a playground. How I say, it's not neutral, 70%. It's kind of very opinionated, I can say. But this is how it was detected and analyzed. So, we have attributes of face. I mean, men usually don't have, but nowadays, of course, they have. Girls have many attributes usually at face. Okay, let's see if I have. Okay, I don't have any beautiful photo. I don't see what I'm doing at heavy metal festivals. Organizers will kill me. So let's take the same photo. And okay, so as now comes a big bomb. You see there were faces detected on a photo. All are kids' faces, but I don't know what happened to this blue one, but it is considered to be 55 years old. But all in all, still we have, a lot of information about the different attributes of a human face. So while these services are getting better and better, actually we're getting more and more dangerous landscape. So I have time around, I think, 2 minutes. Ah? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, it's enough for me. So, and now let's try to see how to, if we take some photo, then what can this service tell about the photo? It has to analyze what is on a picture. Okay, so a group of people sitting in a parking lot, it's kind of okay. And it also provides some tags. The dragging part is actually too noisy, I think. Okay. Um, Now it has also some OCR functionalities. And now let's take a handwriting. I take one that is not so hard to process. But if you ask if handwriting is hard one, uh, yes, it is, because let me take this handwriting controller. We see here a totally different model. Uh, when we send image to processing, we got just a process handle and we have to wait. We have to check, okay, is a process ended? Here you can see that it is a readable handwriting actually, but still it is not recognizing everything. I tried it with a home beer can from Poland, and then the results were even worse. But as a last thing, let's take some really bad handwriting in the means of nowadays. I mean, you know, the guy who is dead long ago, dead and gone, but left something good. Shakespeare. What do you think? What happens with Shakespeare? So, from my first line, I understand hard wrote the man, but what comes after this? It is like, you know, hitting somebody to head with a fridge. So, but it is an old English language. Now if you ask, okay, we have also sometimes images, we have photos we have taken on a street. So, okay, beautiful town called Krakow and a bookshop. Let's see what happens with it. I like the slogan because also I will be dead one day, but I have blog. I don't have any chance to switch it off when I die, you know, because I'm working on dying in this moment. So, but what happens here, or why I actually like this photo is, you know, there are a lot of words that are going to a cloud-like mess. And the algorithm has detected some of these, but we all and people, why not these words? I mean, it's clearly written out. Okay, this is example of how young these services actually are, but you know, they exist and they're present here. Okay, now as a closing, well, based on based on what I just demonstrated to you, it's possible to build by example. I know in Estonia it has been a problem, where in some areas there are guys who are walking around trying to break into houses. Okay, but it's not hard to build a home surveillance system, or even worse for bad guys, for neighborhood surveillance system. And you can always make a person group called, you know, home area criminals, and you can automate a lot of things, how you know, how people are detected and going to groups. Okay, so it's time over. I think it has been a long day for you, also for me, also for culture people who are not attending here. Okay, I want to say thanks to you to coming here. If you have any questions, then shoot me. I'm here ready to answer. And I put on the screen also the same slide. Oh no, I don't just show you this militia. Where you can find the same working solution. Okay, thank you.